The glass didn't shatter when I dropped it, just cracked at the base and rolled under the buffet table like even it was embarrassed to be part of the moment. Nobody noticed. Everyone was too busy laughing at her joke. The punchline was me. I wasn't sure what was colder, the chicken sauté going uneaten on my plate, or the silence wedged between her glance and my clenched jaw. She stood there in her coral dress, holding court like a pageant queen who accidentally married a court jester. "He's so sensitive," she had said with a smile so sweet you could choke on it. "Gets all weird when I stay out late, like I haven't been doing that since college." They laughed. Her friends, her coworkers, even my own cousin, who winced but still joined in. Someone elbowed me. "She's just kidding, man." Was she? When the clapping started, I smiled. It wasn't the warm kind. It was the kind of smile you wear when you realize the knife in your back has your own initials carved in the handle. Afterward, she caught up to me outside by the hedges. "Come back in," she said, voice soft now. "Don't make a scene. Don't make a scene." That was the moment the switch flipped. Not when she embarrassed me. Not when I realized people had been laughing for a while now. It was when she made me the problem for walking away from it. I didn't say anything. Just walked to my car barefoot, my dress shoes still by the lawn chairs. She didn't follow me. Inside, the party played on. But something was ending. Not loudly. Not with a bang. Something subtler, like a thread unraveling quietly beneath the noise. And I'll be honest. I still didn't know what I was going to do. Not yet. But that first crack in the glass? That was the start. She was slicing the chicken too aggressively. The knife screeched against the porcelain like it was trying to say something she wouldn't. Across the table, I watched her hand tighten with each stroke. The silence between us was thick, surgical. Our routines had become that precise, wordless, cold. She didn't ask how my day was. I didn't ask where she'd been. Then, out of nowhere, while still staring down at her plate, she said it. "He told me I laugh more when I'm not with you." No eye contact. No hesitation. Just that. Like a weather update. I blinked. My potatoes went cold. Then came the kicker. "Don't take it personally. You'll get over it." That's when I stood up. Pushed the chair back slowly enough for her to register it. She finally looked up. Like I'd broken some sacred marital rule. Stay quiet. Stay boring. Stay out of the way. But I didn't speak. Didn't curse. Didn't shout. Just walked out. No shoes. No phone. Just socks and whatever dignity hadn't been diced up like that sad excuse for dinner. The air outside was cold, honest. A dog barked somewhere. A wind chime hit one wrong note, and I kept walking. Past the hedges. Past the mailbox. Past the idea that maybe this was just a phase. I didn't get far before my mind started playing the scene back. Not just dinner. Everything. Every half-hearted kiss. Every late meeting. Every time she smiled at her phone and locked the screen just a little too fast. It wasn't grief I felt. Not yet. It was something worse. Confusion with a side of realization. By the time I circled the block and got back near the house, I saw it. Through the window. She was humming. Wiping the counter. Her hair had something in it, confetti? There was an envelope on the counter. Cream-colored. Gold wax seal. Faint champagne glasses embossed into it. That wasn't a random dinner she'd come back from. That was a celebration. A celebration with someone else. And that's when I made the choice. Not with my fists. Not with yelling. With silence. I turned around and slept in the truck that night. The next morning, she didn't ask where I'd been. She made smoothies. Strawberry and banana, like it was any other day. Like she hadn't said someone else made her laugh more. Like I hadn't just walked out barefoot into the dark because I couldn't breathe around her indifference anymore. "You're being weird," she said, casual as checking the weather. "Are we really doing this passive-aggressive thing again?" I didn't answer. What do you even say to that? The kitchen smelled like betrayal and frozen fruit. Later that day, her sister Lorna sent me a message. Just a screenshot. No words. An Instagram story. Already expired. Someone had saved it. It was her. Tessa. My wife. In a red dress I'd never seen before. Laughing into some guy's chest like he was a memory she'd always been waiting to remember. His hand rested on her hip like it lived there. And the caption? She said yes. I dropped my phone. It cracked on the kitchen floor, but I didn't move. Couldn't. She said yes. To him. While she was still married to me. While I was sitting across from her, chewing cold chicken and pretending we still had something left to salvage. And the confetti? It wasn't from some work mixer or quirky team-building dinner. It was from her engagement. To a man who wasn't her husband. I didn't cry. I didn't shout. I didn't even feel angry. Not yet. What I felt was erased, like I'd been quietly deleted from my own life without notice. Just a footnote in her next chapter. I slept in the truck again. Couldn't stomach the idea of sharing a roof with someone who was planning a new life while I was still finishing ours. That night, staring at the ceiling, I realized this wasn't cheating. This was a replacement. And tomorrow? I was going to need answers. Not closure. Not comfort. Truth. The house was too quiet when I walked in. The kind of quiet that feels intentional. No music. No hum of the dishwasher. Just the soft buzz of a ceiling fan and the distant ticking of a wall clock that had outlived its purpose. I didn't say anything as I stepped through the entryway. Tessa was in the bathroom, humming again. Always humming when she was trying to feel in control. This time it sounded like nervousness dressed up as casual. I didn't confront her. Not right away. I walked past the bathroom door, straight to the bedroom. That's where I saw it. On the dresser, sitting there like it had every right to exist in my house. A square envelope. Cream-colored. Embossed. No name on the front. But I didn't need one. I picked it up slowly, like it might bite. Inside was a printed invitation. Join us in celebrating the engagement of Tessa Marie Whitlock and Rory James Calder. Date. Time. Location. Dress code. Elegant evening attire. I don't remember sitting down, but there I was, on the edge of our bed holding the most surreal proof that I wasn't crazy. That I hadn't overthought it. That all the late nights, the dismissive laughs, the sharp remarks at parties, they weren't marriage fatigue. They were the wind-up to her exit. A wedding invite. Not a breakup text. Not even a post-it note on the fridge. She was planning a whole new life while I was still buying groceries like we'd make it to next week. She walked in a few minutes later, hair still damp, face too calm. Her eyes landed on the envelope in my hand, and for a fraction of a second, her composure cracked. Not fear. Not guilt. More like inconvenience. You weren't supposed to find that yet, she said. That. Like I'd accidentally opened my birthday present too early. Like this was all a surprise party she hadn't finished planning. What is this? I asked, even though I knew. She tilted her head like I was being difficult. It's complicated, Dorian. I stood up slowly. No, it's actually not. You've been emotionally checked out for years, she said, arms crossed now. I didn't want to hurt you, but you were never going to change. You never fought for me. There it was. The monologue. The justification. I wasn't shocked. Not even mad. Exactly. More fascinated. Like watching a magician explain how the trick worked after you'd already seen your watch was gone. You didn't even file for divorce, I said quietly. Her response? A shrug. I was trying to figure out the right time. She didn't say sorry. She didn't say I was wrong. She said the right time. Like there's a hallmark moment for stabbing someone in the back politely. I asked her how long. She didn't even blink. 8 months, give or take. 8 months. While I was cleaning out the garage, fixing the leak in the roof, planning our anniversary weekend in Asheville. 8 months. I asked if you loved him, I said, because some part of me still needed that last glimmer of denial to hang on to. Yes, she said. Just like that. Like it cost nothing. And that was it. That was the sentence that finally cracked something open in me. I braced for lies. I prepared for gaslighting. But the truth? Freely handed over like it was common knowledge? I didn't shout. Didn't throw anything. I walked out again. Same front door. Same silence. This time, I took the wedding invitation with me. Back in the truck, I stared at that invite like it might rewrite itself. Like maybe I'd hallucinated it. But there it was. Gold embossed lettering. Ivory cardstock. A celebration of the erasure of me. And here's the part that stings in places you didn't know could feel. She wasn't ashamed. She was organized. This wasn't spontaneous. This wasn't some wild affair fueled by emotion and guilt. It was planned, polished, decorated. She'd picked a venue, a color scheme, a guest list, all while sharing a bathroom sink with me, all while watching me refill her favorite tea bags into that dumb labeled jar she liked. Small acts of love, she used to call them. Apparently, too small. I didn't drive anywhere that night. Just sat there, engine off, invitation in my lap, wondering how I'd explain this to my parents. To myself. To the version of me that still believed people didn't just discard others when the sparkle wore off. Eventually, I started the truck and drove to the lake. Our lake. The one where she used to read and I used to skip stones like I was auditioning for some quiet husband of the year montage. It was empty now. Just water and wind. I climbed out, invitation still in hand, walked to the shoreline, and stood there under a sky too clear for how I felt. I didn't cry. I just stood still long enough for the cold to settle into my bones, letting the silence do what her voice never could: tell the truth. Before I left, I ripped the invitation in half. Not because I was bitter, but because I needed at least one moment where I got to choose how this ended. Back in the truck, I tossed the pieces onto the passenger seat. And that's when I said it out loud for the first time. She's marrying someone else, and still has my name on her bills. I laughed. A dry, hollow laugh that wasn't mine anymore. And then I whispered, not to the air, not to the lake, but to myself. She doesn't know it yet, but this story isn't over. By the time I got back to town, I wasn't a husband anymore. I was a ghost with a to-do list. Tessa thought she'd walked away clean, that the quiet man she'd been married to all these years would just fade into the wallpaper like he always did. But here's the thing about quiet men. We don't explode. We calculate. I parked the truck outside a coffee shop, not to grab a drink, but because their Wi-Fi was reliable and their back booth was always empty after 6 p.m. I opened my laptop and began to gather emails, texts, calendar entries, credit card statements, the digital fingerprints of betrayal. She had been sloppy. People always are when they're falling in love with their own selfishness. There were receipts from hotels I never knew she stayed in, dinner reservations under names she forgot to change, a shared Spotify playlist between her and someone named Rory, our future brother-in-law, apparently with a description that read, "For rainy nights and red wine." I copied everything into a folder. Password protected. Labeled it something stupid like old taxes in case anyone ever snooped. Then I created a second folder. That one was for the plan, because I had one now. No, not violence. I wasn't going to torch her car or throw paint on her wedding dress. I was aiming for something far more difficult: removal, not just of myself, of her illusion, her story, her script where she gets to be the radiant bride while I disappear like a forgotten draft. She wanted to rewrite her life? Fine. I'd take the pen. First, I called my cousin Malcolm. He's a family lawyer with a suspicious love of procedural drama and enough caffeine in his bloodstream to power a blender. "Hey," I said, keeping my tone flat. "You still offer that free consultation for emotionally obliterated relatives?" He didn't laugh. Just said, "Whose neck are we stepping on?" "I need to file," I replied. "Immediately." He paused. "She finally crossed the line?" "No," I said. "She built a whole new life past it." He told me what I'd need. Pay stubs, marriage certificate, proof of residence, the usual wreckage. I told him to draw it up as uncontested. I wasn't interested in dragging it out in court, but I was interested in one thing: timing. "You think you can serve the papers on a specific date?" I asked. "Depends how specific." I gave him the date. He whistled low. "The wedding?" "No," I said. "The engagement party. She's throwing it at her parents' lake house next Saturday." A beat of silence. "You want it dramatic?" he asked. "No," I said again. "I want it memorable." The rest of the week passed like molasses spiked with caffeine. Every morning, I woke up early and jogged around the neighborhood, trying to keep the ache from turning into rage. I wasn't mourning the loss of her anymore. I was mourning the version of myself that thought love meant always waiting. Midweek, I stopped by the house while she was at work. Not to talk, just to collect what was mine. A box of books, my old record player, a framed photo of my dad and I from the fishing trip we took just before he passed. The things that mattered. And tucked inside the closet, I found the sweater she bought me last Christmas still in its gift bag. She'd forgotten to give it to me. Or maybe she didn't forget. Maybe she knew by then she wasn't planning on sticking around for the next one. I left it. Let her give it to Rory. Saturday arrived like a storm pretending to be a breeze. Clear skies, smiling guests, champagne flutes lined up like soldiers on a linen-draped table. I didn't show up, of course, but the envelope did. Delivered by courier, handed to Tessa personally, sealed in a manila pouch with her full name written in neat block letters. According to Malcolm, who couldn't help texting me in all caps mid-party, it landed just as she was about to make a toast. Her hand trembled when she read it. Not because she didn't know what it meant, but because she did. It was the end of her version. The guests watched, some in confusion, others in dawning horror. Her mother apparently asked, "What is it, sweetheart?" And Tessa, pale as a blank page, just muttered, "It's nothing." But Rory? He took the envelope, read it, turned to her and said, "You're still married?" A moment of silence. Then he walked out. No yelling, no accusations. Just gone. That was the thing about men like Rory. Flashy, passionate, but allergic to mess. And suddenly, Tessa was holding 2 empty glasses and a future that just collapsed in front of 30 of her closest friends. I didn't celebrate. I didn't high-five anyone or pour a drink. I just went home to my new place. Small, quiet, and clean. I made myself a grilled cheese sandwich and sat on the porch with a book I hadn't touched in years. I didn't check social media. Didn't wait for a call. But eventually, my phone buzzed. One text. From her. Why would you do that? I didn't answer. Because the truth is, I didn't do anything to her. I just stopped protecting her from the consequences of her choices. And for the first time in years, I felt something close to peace. I expected more from her. Not more love. That ship had been set on fire, sunk, and quietly forgotten beneath the waves. No, I expected more resistance. Instead, for a whole week after the engagement party detonation, I heard nothing. No texts. No voicemails. No frantic knocks on the door. Not even a passive-aggressive email. And that silence? It was the loudest thing I'd ever heard. I went about my new life in fragments. A half-unpacked apartment above a hardware store. A calendar with no plans except laundry and don't check her Instagram. I bought groceries for one. Learned which nights the diner down the street served pot roast. Became a regular without saying much at all. I started sleeping better. Not great, but enough. The kind of sleep that doesn't fear what the morning might bring. I didn't wake up wondering if today would be the day she'd look at me like a man again. That version of her, of us, was gone. But the quiet was deceptive. Because silence isn't peace. Sometimes it's the pressure before the collapse. On the 8th day, my phone finally lit up with her name. I didn't pick up. Not because I was angry, but because I wasn't ready to hear her voice in that tone, the one she used when she needed something but didn't want to admit it. I let it go to voicemail. She didn't leave one. Instead, she texted the next day. Can we talk like adults? That made me laugh, audibly, in my empty kitchen. Like adults? No? After lying, erasing, and planning a future with a new last name before giving up the old one? Still, I didn't respond. 3 days later, I came home to find a note taped to my door. Not slid underneath, not mailed. Taped. Handwritten. Careful. Too careful. Dorian, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how lost I was until you stopped looking for me. Please let me explain. Just one conversation. You owe me that much. That last line almost did it. You owe me that much. Oh. It's funny how the people who betray you are always the first to hand you an invoice. As if pain were a transaction, and silence a kind of theft. I crumpled the note and tossed it in the bin. But I didn't throw it far. I knew myself well enough to admit I'd probably fish it out later, just to read it again and get angry all over. She reached out again 2 nights later. This time, a voice memo. I know I messed up. I know you hate me. But I need you to know it wasn't fake. You and me. That wasn't fake. I just didn't know how to be in something that felt so still. You were always so calm. I needed noise. Noise. She got it, all right? She got her noise. Got her whirlwind, her adventure, her champagne confetti dreams. And now, apparently, she wanted quiet again. But the thing about silence is once you learn to live in it, you stop craving the static. I replied, finally. Just one message. What exactly do you want from me? She answered within a minute. Just to talk. Please. Face to face. So we met. Neutral ground. A little coffee shop that used to be ours, now turned foreign by time and tension. She was already sitting when I walked in, hands wrapped around a mug like it was holding her together. She looked tired. Not messy. Not broken. Just exhausted in that way people get when their stories stop going the way they rehearsed. Hey, she said, almost gently. I nodded. Sat across from her. No hug. No handshake. Just 2 ghosts pretending this was a normal Sunday. You look good, she said, and when I didn't respond, she added, better. Healthier. I sipped my coffee. Black. Bitter. The kind of drink you earn. She looked down at her cup. I deserve that, she said. You deserve a lot of things, I replied, calmly. I'm just not in charge of delivering them anymore. She winced. I know you're angry. I'm not angry, I said. Not anymore. Then what are you? Free. Her eyes shimmered, just a little. I couldn't tell if it was guilt or performance. With Tessa, those lines had always been a little blurry. I made mistakes, she said. I know that sounds small, but I'm not here to ask you to forget. I lost something. I didn't realize it until you left. I leaned forward. Not hostile. Just clear. I didn't leave, Tessa. You just stopped seeing me. She nodded, slowly. I think I was chasing something I couldn't even name. You found him, though, I said. Rory. Her face hardened. He left. Why? She took a long breath. Because he didn't want the mess. He liked me better as someone else's wife. Once I wasn't that anymore, I wasn't. Fun. I nodded. Not with satisfaction, but with inevitability. The kind you feel when the punchline lands exactly where you knew it would. So what do you want now? I asked again. I don't know, she admitted. Not to fix it. Just to not be hated. I stirred my coffee with the wooden stick until it snapped in half. I don't hate you, I said. I just don't believe you anymore. She didn't cry. She wasn't the crying type. Instead, she nodded again, the way people do when they finally understand the math of a loss. We sat for a few more minutes in silence. This time, it wasn't awkward. It was honest. Before I left, I said one last thing. You said you needed noise. Well, I hope you find it. But don't come looking for quiet again just because it finally stopped waiting for you. And then I walked out. Tessa didn't message me after the cafe. Not that day. Not that week. The silence she used to weaponize had finally turned on her. Funny how silence can feel like power when you're holding it, but like punishment when it's given to you. But people talk, especially in small towns. Word got around that Rory ghosted her the night of the engagement party. Some said he found out she was still married. Others said he saw a side of her no man should see before dessert is served. Whatever the reason, the wedding was off. Quietly canceled. No refunds, no explanations. Just disappeared. Meanwhile, I went on with my life. Or rather, I built one. A real one. I took a job at a small design firm 2 towns over, cut my commute, got my weekends back. I adopted a dog. She's small, too loud, and absolutely doesn't listen to me, but at least she's honest about it. One day, I ran into her sister, Lorna, outside the pharmacy. She looked tired, same bloodline, same wear and tear. She's not doing great, she said, skipping the small talk. Won't talk to Mom. Barely eats. I said nothing. Just nodded. She asked me about you, Lorna added. Wanted to know if you were seeing anyone. I'm seeing peace, I said. And she doesn't like to share. She smiled a little. Sad. Almost proud. Good, she said. You deserved better than what she turned into. I didn't correct her. Tessa didn't turn into anything. She revealed herself. That's the thing most people don't understand about betrayal. It's not a transformation. It's a reveal. Weeks passed. Then months. I thought I was done with her story. I really did. Until one Thursday, I got a voicemail from a number I didn't recognize. Hey, this is Evan. I know this is weird, but I think we need to talk. About Tessa. It wasn't his voice that caught me off guard. It was the way he said her name. Careful. Like it might still burn his mouth. I called back. Evan was Rory's roommate. Apparently, before things went south, he'd overheard a few too many conversations about the husband-me. He wanted to meet. Said he had something to show me. I didn't want drama. But I was curious. And curiosity, in my experience, is the last emotion before something cracks open. We met at a bar. Not the kind for suits. The kind with wood-paneled walls and dollar bills stapled to the ceiling. He brought a manila envelope. Seriously. Inside were photos. Texts. Screenshots of messages Tessa had sent to Rory. The usual emotional blackmail. He never loved me. I was trapped. He's emotionally unstable. But the part that mattered was a copy of a message she sent the night before our engagement party. It read, "He won't fight back. He's too passive. I've handled it. After Saturday, I'm free." That word. Handled. Like I was a detail. An obstacle. Something to be moved quietly. Evan looked at me. Nervous. I don't think she's dangerous, man. I just think she's delusional. I know, I said. I took the envelope, thanked him, and left. I didn't go home. I drove to the lake. Sat by the shoreline. Watched the wind push water around like it was trying to rearrange something old. She told Rory I wouldn't fight back. She was almost right. I hadn't been back to the old house since I moved out. But that night, something pulled me there. It wasn't nostalgia, or rage, or even a need for closure. It was a kind of unfinished business. Like the house itself still had something to say. I parked across the street. The porch light was on, but dim. One bulb flickering. I walked up the steps. Knocked. No answer. I tried the handle. Still unlocked. Always was. The place smelled the same, like citrus candles and faint guilt. I stepped inside. half expecting her to appear, arms crossed, ready for a fight. But she didn't. She was in the kitchen, sitting at the table, a mug in front of her, steam rising. No music this time. No humming. Just the hum of the fridge and the weight of 1,000 unsaid things between us. "You shouldn't be here," she said without looking up. "I know." She finally glanced at me. Her face was thinner, her hair messy in a way that wasn't curated. She looked like someone who used to pretend well, now out of rehearsals. "Why'd you come?" she asked. I took a deep breath. "To tell you I forgive you," I said. She blinked, caught off guard. "But not for you," I continued. "For me." Tessa opened her mouth, but I cut her off. "You don't get to be the end of my story." Silence. Then, her voice barely above a whisper. "Do you hate me?" "No," I said. "I just don't believe you exist anymore." I turned, walked out. This time, no hesitation, no second glance. The chapter wasn't just closed. The whole book was shelved. Here's what happened after. She tried to reach out a few more times. Voicemails. Letters. A long, rambling email that started with "Remember the lake?" and ended with "Maybe in another life." I never responded. Not because I wanted to punish her, but because responding would have been participation. And I was done playing her extra. I didn't tell mutual friends the whole story. I didn't post screenshots or play victim. I just lived well, got promoted, took road trips, started seeing someone who didn't need drama to feel alive. Someone who laughed without looking over her shoulder, who told the truth without making it feel like a gift. As for Tessa, the last I heard, she moved out of state, started fresh, or tried to. But people carry their patterns, not just their luggage. She'll tell her new version of the story, that I was distant, that I didn't fight, that I folded socks and forgot birthdays. She'll leave out the parts where I was her home. But that's fine, because my revenge wasn't dramatic. It wasn't loud. It was letting her live with the echo of a man who never came back to fix it. And in the end, I think that was the one thing she never planned for.